All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening. Hope you guys can hear me. Good evening, everyone. Can you guys hear me? All right, welcome to today's class. Yes, can you guys hear me? Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, all right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's class. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's class. This is our second week for the program Entertainment, Business, and Law. All right, I'm like my name is Dennis Williams. I will be your moderator for today. All right, our topic for today is music, business, and law. And before we go into the class proper, I would like to just take some announcements, like is our custom. All right, so let's get into the announcements. Sorry about that. We are still on about the program. So I'll just do a brief into the program, what JIIPCC Mentorship and Internship Program is about. So JIIPCC Mentorship and Internship Program is a quarterly mentorship program for students and young professionals across Africa. Mentees are afforded the opportunity to access valuable advice, training, network, mentorship, internship, discussion forum, industry updates, and resource materials from experienced mentors. This program seeks to encourage continuous training, development, and evolution in Nigeria, Africa, and around the world. You can watch our videos by searching for JIIPCC on YouTube and Facebook. You can join using the hashtag JIIPCCMIP. The objectives for the program are firstly to provide easy access, guidance, training, and resource materials for students and young professionals in Africa. Secondly, to facilitate dialogues and networks among experienced and less experienced practitioners and stakeholders. Thirdly, to transform mentees into mentors and leaders for the next generation. And last but not least, on our objective is to facilitate further mentorship, internship, and job placement for the mentees. All right, with that being said, we are still on the registration phase of the program. We said registration is going to end this second week. So, before the end of the week, if you have any friend or loved one that still wants to register for the course, it's still available for registration on our course. On the list of courses we have intellectual property, artificial intelligence. We have intellectual property, artificial intelligence and technology, the energy industry, fintech industry, health tech and law, patent drafting and blockchain, NFT and metaverse. Like you all guys know, we are not currently offering those courses now, but hopefully in the next quarter we'll be hosting them. So if you have people who are interested in patent drafting and blockchain NFT, you can still tell them to register ahead of next quarter. So we also have entertainment, business, and law. Entertainment, business, and law, the course we are currently having today. And you can reach us through, or you can register via the link that is posted on the flyer, or you can still reach out to us if you have a friend and you want to send the link to that friend. We can give you the link. We can send you the link so that you can also send it to them to register. We still give the opportunity for 30 minutes one-on-one mentorship with your favorite JIIPCC mentor. That is the link for registration. You can still reach out to us and we'll send you the link so that you can register if you need the link directs. What you will get from that mentorship, one-on-one mentorship program, what you will get is you will get hacks, secrets, life lessons, direction from your favorite mentor. Okay, we'll now be introducing our mentor for today. Our mentor for today is Miss rather, Omotayo Alemeru. Miss Omotayo Alemeru. Omotayo Alemeru Abiode is the founder and lead consultant at My Digital My Digital Lawyer, where she uses her experience in intellectual property and entertainment law to educate and enlighten creatives and entrepreneurs on how to legalize and protect their brands and innovation. She has a master's degree in intellectual property law and policy and has completed several certifications in intellectual property with with international organizations, including, but not limited to the World Intellectual Property Organization. Omotayo, also widely known as My Digital Lawyer, regularly advises and represents a wide range of brands within and outside Nigeria on transactional commercial issues, including basic and technical legal issues surrounding intellectual property, media, and entertainment, with about 10 years post-call experience and about 5 years active experience in being an IP lawyer and tutor. Omotayo likes to identify herself as a woman in entertainment and intellectual property because she constantly works with entrepreneurs and creatives. She uses her practical experience to teach intellectual property rights, thereby helping business owners and creative legalize and protect their brand innovation slash creative work effectively. Omotayo has an excellent reputation for constantly sharing great value with her audience online. She has been interviewed on quite a number of shows on international TV like Arise News and Espade Media in the United States, both digitally and in person, respectively. She also has a YouTube channel, My Digital Lawyer, where she posts legal content on IP, entertainment law, and related content to help business and creators understand how to protect their intellectual property rights. She does this across all her social networks, such as Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and TikTok. Omotayo stands out for gender equality in the workplace by using her voice, especially on digital media, to communicate the need to embrace equity as well as celebrate diversity, particularly in the creative community, as women can be given equal opportunities as their male counterparts. Okay, that is our mentor for today, Mrs. Mrs. Omotayo Alemeru. I don't think I can see her yet on the call. Okay, yes, I can see her now. Mrs. Omotayo, you're welcome to JIIPCC Mentorship and Internship Program. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming here to share your vast knowledge on the entertainment business aspects of law. So I would like to just give you the platform for you to, in the next few minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, just share with us what you have for today, ma. You're welcome, Ms. Omotayo. Ms. Omotayo, can you hear me, ma? Okay. Ms. Omotayo. Okay, you just sent a message that you can't hear us. Okay, let me send you a direct message, ma. Hello, ma, can you hear me? Hello, Mrs. Omotayo. Miss Omotayo.
I'm actually using the caption to see what you're saying.
Sorry, you are not very. Log out and log back in. Sorry, we didn't hear you, Ma. Sorry, what did you say? Hello. All right. Good evening, Ma. Yes, Ma. I can't hear you, but I can. Okay, you said you can't hear. So sorry about that. All right, Ma, you confirm if every other person is here. I can confirm if it's my own from my end. Okay, can everyone hear me?
We can.
Okay, I think it's from her end. Okay. Ma, you can just kindly log off and log back in. Maybe that will log out and log back in. That will maybe help. All right. While we wait for her to come back, right? Hope I want to ask if the group presenters are available and they are ready with their presentations. Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, group 1 and group 2, are you guys ready with your presentations? Because after her sections, you guys will be presenting. So I hope you guys are ready.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
My name is Okenwachi Victory. I'm the group leader for Group 1, and our presenter is online and ready.
Okay, but you can do that after she has made she's done with her what are they calling, with her section. So you should just wait a bit. I think she's having a bit of network issue. So let me see if I can get through to her for her to, let's say, log back in and continue with the class.
Okay, sir, thank you.
All right.
And this will be written. Okay, I think it's working now. Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, we can hear you, ma.
Okay. Hi, hello, good evening, everyone. My sincere
Good evening, ma.
apologies for the
Yeah, no
glitch.
problem.
Okay, so I'll just introduce myself, yeah? Oh boy.
Okay, we can hear you. You can go ahead, ma. Please, ma, you can go ahead. We can hear you.
Like this thing.
We can hear you clearly.
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, hello, good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening, ma.
Welcome to this mentor session. I'll just share my screen to make it faster. I thought I was supposed to be speaking after you all present, but I can just go straight to my own presentation.
Yes, ma. You can go straight to your presentation. When you are done, then the mentees will have their presentations.
Sorry, come again.
I say you can go straight to your presentation. When you are done, the mentees can have their own presentation after you're done, ma.
Okay.
Yes, ma.
So for starters, I would like everyone to know that this is going to be an interactive session. So it's not Omota teaching you what you're supposed to do. I've seen your slide. Someone sent me your slide via email, and you all did an amazing job with the presentation. I almost feel like there's literally almost nothing to teach you, but I'd just like to please give me a few seconds to get to my screen. I've turned off my internet.
Hello, ma. Can you hear us? Hello, ma. Oh, I think she's having a little network issue. So please, I want to apologize for any inconvenience it's causing in the delay, and that's but we'll still, let me see if I can still reach out to her again. Hello, hello, ma. Okay.
Hi, Dennis. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can
ma.
everyone hear me? I think I was speaking to myself for a second. Apologies, please. So basically, we're speaking about the music business and law, and I would just like to encourage you to focus on the music aspects as a business, not just as a lawyer. First of all, I believe everyone here is a lawyer or your law students, right? And one mistake we make most times is when we are experts in a particular field, we still decide to put in just the legal aspects. So in this segment, you're going to learn about the music business itself and the legal aspect itself. So first of all, as a lawyer, you should know that you're in this business. You're in this business to take care of your client's business, who's the artist or the record label or the publisher, and you have to treat it as a business. I hope you're hearing me. You have to treat it. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. So it's important at each point to remember that you treat the business. Now, this is to you, the lawyer or the law student, treat the music business separate from the legal aspects. So you understand what happens amongst the stakeholders, you understand the relationship between the main stakeholders in the music industry, aside your own legal background, okay? So my focus here will be on the Nigerian legal system, which is similar to every other system in maybe the United States or in Canada, whatever country, but we're focusing on Nigeria. I don't know if there are non-Nigerians here, so pardon me, please. The entire music system is made up of a group of people because these are the key players in the music industry. And legal is just one aspect. Even the artist is just one aspect. So generally, we just think, when you listen to a particular song or a song is streamed on the internet, the only person you're thinking of is, there's a Wizkid somewhere, there's a Burna Boy somewhere, but there is a whole lot behind the scene aside the artist. So that's why I have this chart here to show you the key players in the industry: the artist, the manager or the management, the record label, the legal, the promoter, the distributor. Now, a manager, right? The manager is, this chart doesn't mean the manager is the first person you think of. I just outline all of this for you to understand. Sometimes you have a manager as an artist. If you're an independent artist, some artists are independent, some are signed to record labels. Oftentimes we just think artists should be signed to record labels, but we have independent artists that manage their catalogs by themselves. Please let me know if you're following and you can hear me. Dennis, you're hearing me, right?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you, ma'am.
Okay, so sorry, come again.
Yeah, loud and clear, ma'am. Loud and clear. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, I know I have 20 minutes, but I have a lot to say. I'm going to try to crash this course in 20 minutes. The independent artist would have a manager. Example of independent artists in Nigeria, we have Simi. Adekunle Gold is an independent artist. I think Kiss Daniel is an independent artist also. So they're not signed to any record label. They just do things by themselves. So most times independent artists have their own managers, while the non-independent or the dependent artists or the regular artists, as we all know, are signed to record labels. The ones that are signed to record labels also have their own managers. If you deem to, it's not rocket science. You do not have to have a manager, but it's advisable you have a manager, whether as an indie artist, or when I say indie, I mean independent, of course. I'm just using our language, indie artist or a regular artist. And then we have the legal, which is most times when you start business in this entertainment law business, right, you would realize that the legal is oftentimes disregarded, which is not supposed to be so. So we have the promoter, because you're in this for business, right? But you can't speak to the whole world by yourself. So there are people designated to help promote your music. These days, we have even TikTokers, influencers. They serve as music promoters sometimes, okay? So then you have the distributor. I don't know if you know about DistroKid. That's like the most common distributor. That's the most I think, well-known distributing platform, distributing company in not just for Nigerians, but even international artists. Okay, and then the publishing company. Let me just go straight to the next slide. Can you see my slide?
Yeah, yes, ma'am, we can.
Is it shared?
It is.
Okay. Great. So I'll just like to go. Next thing is the basics of copyright, because this is the most this is the major intellectual property right in music. We have another right, of course, which is trademark right. But I would like to speak on straight about copyright, right? Copyright is the exclusive right to use, distribute, perform, and recreate an original creative or artistic work. This is my own definition, a summary, but it's simply the right to copy, the right to use a particular person's work, or you, the owner of that original work, the right to use that work, to exploit that work. So a distinct feature of copyright is, I think I saw this on your slide, so maybe I'll just run through it. It appears you all have done excellently with your research, and you know this, but I'll just run by it quickly for us to, remember. It has to be expressed in a form, and registration is not mandatory. And then 2 separate copyrights exist in music: the composition that goes to the songwriters or publishers, and then sound recording to artists or labels. Labels, because recall I mentioned earlier that we have independent artists, so it's not every time the royalties from sound recordings go to the artist directly. And lest I forget, the stakeholders I mentioned, you should have that back of your mind that, when you see, this particular musical work made so amount, so large number of streams, have it at the back of your mind that it is not the artists. So we as music lawyers should not think like every other person out there that believes, Wizkid is so. Yes, Wizkid is wealthy. I'm using Wizkid as an example. Wizkid is wealthy. This is his net worth. But in that net worth, comparing it to the number of streams, you realize that there are so many other stakeholders. Everyone's got their cuts. Lyricist got his cut. Publishing got cut. Distributor got cut. When I say cut, their own percentage. So at the end of the day, you're wondering, maybe it's even like 30% that comes home to the artist, especially if you're not an independent artist, okay? So back to this slide, works that are eligible for copyright. We have literary, musical, artistic, and audiovisual works, sound recordings, broadcast, and this is gotten from Section 2 of the Copyright Act. And I believe everyone here, since you have done your research, we have the 2022 Copyright Act, not the former one anymore. And one distinct feature, when I did my master's, this was an issue that was addressed in my dissertation at that time. The Copyright Act then did not envisage this time we're in now. So as at that time, the act or the lawmakers then did not, expressly state anything relating to digital works. Of course, we're in a digital age right now. So that's one great thing about this Copyright Act. Digital protection is now expressly identified. And why am I saying this? Sometimes most times musical works are streamed digitally. So if this was not taken care of by the law, Nigerian Copyright Act, there may be issues. When we have to go to court, you have to start relying on international treaties, okay? So examples of copyright in music, sound recordings, the music itself. So if you're listening to maybe Burna Boy's I Become a Person, you understand? The copyright in that song is not just what you're listening to, the melody, the lyrics, the beats. There copyright exists in each of these things. So to every other person out there, or even to an upcoming artist, you might just think, this song, I have copyright in the entire song. You may not have copyright as an artist. So it's your job as a lawyer to advise your artist accordingly. Lastly, on this slide is the other IP rights. The most obvious rights, or the obvious rights in your musical work, is a copyright. Because that's the first thing. Once you create your work, That's the first thing that exists, right? Then the next right you should consider is the trademark rights, which protects your brand identity. So as a musical lawyer, as a music lawyer, entertainment lawyer, be sure that your artists, I'm saying artists because oftentimes you get to represent the artist, but you might be on the side of the record label. You have to know the right thing to do at each particular time. Do protect their brand identity, whether if it's a registered trademark, be sure that this artist owns that mark. Be sure that they've not sold their rights mistakenly. Of course, you're a lawyer, it's your job to guide them accordingly. I would like to give an instance which I've written here. I wrote Cynthia Morgan and Jude Okoye, then Kiss Daniel. I don't know. Are you following me?
Yeah,
okay.
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. So Cynthia Morgan once upon a time was signed to Jude Okoye's label. That's Peter and P Square's elder brother, their record label, right? And she didn't know that so for this song she released as Cynthia Morgan, which was her birth name and also her brand name, it's the rights became an issue.
Sorry for cutting in, Ma. It seems your network has a little bit of an issue. There's a little glitch in your network. Please, Ma, I want to confirm if you are still. It seems her network is seriously giving her a lot of stress. So I don't know. We'll just wait for her in the next couple of minutes and see whether she is able to join us again. Okay. Hello, Ma. Can you hear us, Ma? Seems. Hello, Ma. Can you hear us? Hello, Ma. Can you hear us? Are you still with us, Ma? Sorry again. My kind apologies for the small interruption. We're still trying to get through to her. Please, you can just give us a few minutes to rectify this. We're very, very sorry for the inconvenience. Hello, Ma. I can see you are back on the call, Ma. Can you hear us, Ma? Welcome back, Ma. It seems like you have your voice, your speaker is muted. It seems like you had a little network issue. Can you hear us, Ma? Hello, Ma. I think she's still trying to rectify the issue she's having from her end. Please, you can just bear a little more. I'm sure she'll be back with us. Okay, Ma, can you hear us now, Ma? Can you hear us, Ma? Okay, your speaker is unmuted. It's muted, rather, I mean. Your speaker is muted.
All right, I guess we're going to be here for 2 hours. Anyways, my apologies for the glitches again. And then Kiss Daniel and Kiss Daniel. It used to be Kiss Daniel, so many people didn't notice, but he had to rebrand to Keys with the double Z because his name, his brand identity was trademarked by his previous record label. So it's your job as a lawyer, as a music lawyer, to look out for these things. It's very, very important. You might just think it's just a name, but all of your hard work or all of your clients' hard work may be jeopardized in the coming years simply because of little mistakes or grievous mistake actually as this. So these IP rights, copyright and trademark rights are the major IP rights, intellectual property rights in music. Okay. Next. Practice areas for music lawyers. So if you're looking to focus on being an entertainment lawyer, or if you're looking to focus on being a music lawyer, because entertainment is not just about music. If you're looking to focus, you have to know these 3 areas: the law of contracts, intellectual property law, and corporate or commercial law. Of course, it doesn't stop you from knowing your criminal litigation or every other aspects of law. But if you're looking to be a music lawyer and practice this excellently, you have to have the law of contracts at the back of your fingertips, because everything you're doing in the business is you're sealing deals, you're putting it in writing. You have to know the basic. In fact, most times I advise upcoming artists, and I think I'll give you this tip too. When you're vibing in the studio and someone says it's yada, 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 and you say, no, I want, no, and you say maybe you want to put yada, 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 that's an instance in your music, right? And then somebody else in the studio says, no, don't do yada, yada, put yada, yodo. That person that says yada, yodo already has rights in your song. If you use that, if you successfully do that. So that's him being part of the composition to that song. That's an instance. So you have to look out for your artist or a songwriter who's your client in cases like this. And then contracts have to, as simple as a voice note in the studio while your artist is vibing. Tell them, as simple as, oh, guy, as you're doing this is my own take. I'm the producer, and this is what I'm taking. I'm taking 10% or 20%. Then afterwards, you can decide to put it in writing, but it has to be stated expressly. So you have to always be on the lookout for that. I know there are lawyers that are also musical artists too, but if you have clients, these are things people will not tell you in law school. No one will tell you this in law school, but this is practice. You have to look out for your clients and ensure that there's something to back them. And that's where the law of contract comes in, okay? Then intellectual property law, which I mentioned earlier. Basically in music, you're looking at copyright, you're looking at trademark, right. You have to have this at the back of your fingertips. You have to know this excellently well. Then corporate and commercial transactions. Of course, you can know every other aspect of it, but these are the core areas that you would need to succeed as a music lawyer, okay? Kindly let me know if my time is running, because I believe we've done past 20 minutes, but I need you to get to the end of this real quick. Okay, yeah, so there are several reasons to get into a contract in music business. The list is actually endless. I listed five contracts here that are common contracts in the music business: recording contracts, split sheets or collab. Okay, this collaborators contract, distribution contract. Sometimes the distribution contract might not actually be a contract. Like if you're signing up to DistroKid now, you don't have an actual contract because DistroKid won't come to you. I don't know if you know DistroKid, they're very well-known distribution company. DistroKid won't come to you to say, oh, we want to distribute for you. It's just a form. It's a digital distributing platform. So you fill up their form. But of course, when you see the form, you have to read through it and know what works for you. That's where you get to see the amount of money that will be spent or that will be taken out of your royalties before being distributed, before being paid back to you. But you could still get distribution contracts with other companies, but there are smaller distribution companies that do this. Publishing contracts, management. So if you have a manager, if you're an independent artist, it's easier when you have a manager under your own, under your own pay. So you decide, oh, I'm going to give you 10% for managing my entire catalog, or I'm going to give you 5%. So you don't just say it with word of mouth, of course, you have to put that in writing. So it's your responsibility as a lawyer to guide your clients, whoever your client is, in this case, whether you're a songwriter, a musical artist, recording artist, a music producer. It's your job to guide them appropriately and act in their best interest. Okay. Oh, I'll share a file containing list. If you have people that are lawyers for like 1, 2, 3 years, or you're just practicing music law, you might find this. I will share a list of contracts, maybe via email. I don't know. I'll share it with someone so you can get across to all of you. And this has a template that can guide you, but you can't copy word for word this template. It's just a guide. So you can tell that there are over 20 or 30 contracts. The list is endless. So if at the end of this session, if you don't get the email, please kindly remind maybe Hussein or Amina. I get emails from Amina. So kindly remind me so I can get this across to you all. Okay. Then royalties in the music business. Okay, remember this is business and you have to keep it as such. I said that earlier when I started this session. I said you have to remember. Are you all with me?
Yes, ma, we're still with you, ma.
Yes, ma.
Sorry?
I said we are still with you, ma. Yes, ma, you can continue.
Okay. So you have said this is the monies. Okay, all right. Got that. Okay, so this is the money. These are the monies due to you as an artist, songwriter, or label. Your rightful money. You're in this for business, of course. You're not doing it for free. So the money due to you, wherever your song is being streamed, or your song is being performed, or is being synced into a movie or an ad, or even when you're on Instagram or TikTok. If you're active on any of these platforms, right? And we use music, we the users, you just use music and maybe to your video, to create your reel, but someone somewhere is getting paid for that. Sometimes you're not even able to use a particular music on TikTok or on your Instagram. So these are royalties, that sync licensing royalties. So it's your duty as a lawyer to check that your artist is not, or your client isn't sleeping on their rights. So if your client is not even an artist and is a musical producer, there's this thing that happened not recently, last year I spoke about it. Sinach and the producer of Waymaker. The producer came after like 10 years or so to say Sinach never paid him royalties for Waymaker. So I believe what happened was that he was paid an was paid upfront, was just paid a one-off fee for producing Waymaker, but they didn't have any contract to state otherwise. So imagine if you are the lawyer to a musical producer, it's your job to advise them. You can't sleep on your rights as a producer. Even if they give you $500, they give you 500K or 1 million naira upfront for this beat. Say, guy, please help me make this beat. And they come to you as a lawyer. It's your job to tell them, you take this 1 million, but you're still entitled because monies are going to be made on this particular work every other year till the artist dies, even after their death. So you can cash out. You can't sleep on your right and just take, like sell your bet rights for just 1 million naira. Okay. So that's where you come in if you're a lawyer to a producer or a songwriter too. And then there's something I want to, there's an example I'd like to share with you. Publishing is for composers. I mentioned that earlier, right? The publishing royalties goes to the composer. So if a musical artist sings a song and then he gets lyrics from different people, different songwriters or different songs, existing songs, like this example I gave here, T-Pain's Buy You or Drunk, right? T-Pain was complaining recently, and I published it, that he didn't get enough publishing on Buy You or Drunk. And that was the one music that made T-Pain famous, or that ordinarily you expect. There was a lot of publishing royalties, a lot of monies were made from that particular song. But T-Pain didn't get any, or he got very little. And do you know why? Because T-Pain used lyrics from several other previously existing works. And then his defense was, oh, I was just trying to honor them. I was just trying to pay homage to them, but this is business. So all of these guys came and said, you know what, I deserve so amounts, this percent, and all of them came out for him. At the end of the day, as well known or as famous as the song made him become, as the streams increased, he didn't get as much as he would have gotten. So it's your job as a music lawyer, to advise your clients. You're into this for business. Be sure you're not infringing on anyone's copyright. And if you're trying to use anyone's work, be sure that you have a contract with them stating this is how much you're going to give them eventually. Okay, so this is my conclusion. I'll read it out. Success in the music business depends on the collaborative efforts of all stakeholders. I mentioned the stakeholders earlier, the lawyers, the publishers, the record labels, the distributors, the managers, promoters. And if you're looking to build a career in this music business, it's important to understand the business and how these stakeholders work together. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you, Ms. Omotayo, for that wonderful section. I'm sure a number of mentees learned a thing or two about music business that probably prior to now they have not known or maybe come in contact with. So thank you very much, Ma, for that section. We really appreciate everything you do for us, Ma. I also want to say thank you again. I think Amina will be reaching out to you concerning the contracts, Ma. So thank you again for that. And we'll do well to post it to send it to our mentees so that they can also have a copy of the how I put the templates for the contract. So thank you, Ma. Shortly, we'll be going into presentations. So I would like Group 1 to get set for their presentation. Sorry, but before we go into that, I want to confirm, Ma, if you can still hear us. Can you hear us, Ma? Can you hear us, Ma? Can you hear us? Hello, Ma. Can you hear us?
Okay.
Yeah. All right. The mentees.
Yes.
Group 1 and Group 2.
I hear you.
All right, Ma. That's good to hear. Group 1 and Group 2, please. Can you quickly come? Group 1, can you quickly come up and present your PowerPoint presentation? Group 1 presenter, we are waiting for you. Group 1 presenter. Okay, if Group 1 is not ready, Group 2, can you come up and make your presentation? And then we'll go back to Group 1 while they get set for their presentation. Group 2, can you come up? We're waiting for you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Yes, good evening. Thank you
My
for...
name is Victory, and I'll be representing Group 2.
All right, Victory. Please, you can go ahead.
Let me share my screen with you guys as well.
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry, please, just give me a minute. Okay, so the document I cannot access it. So I'll just be speaking. I think all of us have PowerPoint.
Let me see if I can access the documents and share it for you while you
All right,
speak.
thank you. So basically, we discussed licensing, we discussed distribution, we discussed contracts, we discussed royalties in the music business and law. So the Nigerian music industry is one of the largest in the music industries in the world. It is growing rapidly and will continue to grow over the years. The legal aspect of the music business is crucial in protecting the interests of artists, producers, record labels, and other stakeholders in the music industry. So we made a general overview of the music business in the music business and law in the Nigerian industry. So music business law is a legal framework governing the activities of musicians, record producers, and those working with recording companies. It centers around various legal issues, and also affecting terms and obligations of parties in contracts and other transactions. We also discussed organization, royalties, and distribution. Payments given to copyright holders, for example, record labels, songwriters, sound recorders, artists, and music publishers for the continued rights to use their work. Sorry, are we following?
Yes,
Hello?
we are.
All right, thank you.
Yes, we are.
The organization of music business law in Nigeria involves various entities such as the Nigerian Copyright Commission, NCC, the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, and the Nigerian Film and Video Censors Board. So they are basically responsible for regulating and enforcing the laws, the regulations in the music industry. They are all responsible for the development, implementation, and enforcement of copyright laws in the music industry. So we have four types. Down to royalties, we have four types of royalties. We have the performance royalties. This is made to musicians when their works are performed publicly. This is when their songs are used in public, rather maybe played in I don't I don't even know how to describe that. Then mechanical royalties is a payment for an exclusive right to reproduce and distribute their work. Sync royalties are payments. Sorry, this is for I don't know. I don't think this is for our group. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's not for your group.
Okay, yeah, it is. Yeah. Group 1.
It is?
Music and business law. That's the title of the document.
Okay. Let me see if I can access it and get that.
Okay. So we have sync royalties, synchronization royalties. They are payments made to
Okay, but you can go ahead. You can continue.
Yeah, when their copyrighted works are paired with audio visuals like paid ads, TV commercials, and they are used in video games. So this is when they have to get the synchronization license. We also have print music royalties. They are payments made by a music publisher for the sale of printed sheet music. Okay. Distribution. Distribution is the process of getting music from the recording artist to the physical store or digital store. Like our mentor mentioned earlier, he said distribution is a system on its own, is making the music available to the public for purchase. And no, this is not ours. It is the process of getting your music available to stream for download on music stores and streaming platforms. We have platforms like, I think, Spotify, AudioMac, and so on and so forth. Then we went on to infringement and enforcement. Are we still following?
Yes, I'm with you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. If an original work is not protected, it denies the owner the ability to benefit from his effort. This is why there is copyright protection. You can't put effort into your work. You can't give your all into your work, and then someone uses it, or maybe they just earn from it without consent, without due authority, and without you getting paid for that particular work rather. So that's why copyright laws are there to curb these infringing acts. So therefore, curbing infringing acts is a major objective of copyright law, and as such, when copyright infringement occurs, copyright owners can pursue legal remedies. They can pursue legal remedies such as, I think, they can pursue legal remedies such as compensation and so on. I think they can also get maybe injunction. I don't know, to stop the act. Yeah, to stop the act. So it's also essential to understand that copyright protection is automatic upon the creation of a musical work. As a copyright holder, you have exclusive rights to reproduce, distribute, and perform your own music. So we also discussed contracts in the music industry. So music contracts are like legally binding agreements that outline the terms and conditions of the artist work rather. I don't know. I don't know if you can share the slides. Let me try and sorry, please. Let me try and get my so okay, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Please, can you go on to contract? Okay. Yeah, they said contracts are essential in the music industry, governing relationships between artists, managers, producers, record labels, and other stakeholders. So this basically affecting terms, obligations, and conditions of the agreements between the recording artist and other stakeholders in the industry. Because if there's no contract, there are instances of breach. There's no how they'll be able to pursue legal remedies. So this contract is what is guiding the terms of the relationship between the artist and the record and the other producers in the music industry. So key contracts include recording contract. I'm sorry. I'm reading from the PDF Key contracts include recording contracts, publishing agreements, management contracts, and performance contracts. This contract outline terms such as compensation, rights, and responsibilities. And they also make instances for breach. And also they make instances where there is a breach. Maybe the parties will pursue arbitration methods to sort out their dispute or through litigation. So they outline the terms and conditions for a specific business relationship in the music sector. Please, the next slide. Thank you. Music contracts plays a critical role in shaping and safeguarding the careers of artists and industry professionals alike. So they provide a legal framework that ensures fair compensation, protects intellectual property rights, fosters accountability between involved parties. As the music industry continues to evolve, understanding the nuances of these agreements becomes increasingly crucial for artists looking to build sustainable careers. So basically, music contract is responsible for protecting the rights of the artists, because when new artists come on board, they don't know what to do, and some of them cannot some of them, okay, like maybe upcoming artists now, they'll be thinking, yeah, they're getting lawyers is like maybe very, very expensive, and they don't even know or what to do or how to go about it. So this way contract comes in, and because it states the terms and right, even if they don't understand, they can go to probably people that understand, or then get lawyers that this is it and this is what not. So it governs the terms of of the relationship. So then next we talked on licensing. This is the next slide. Thank you. Music licensing is simply the transfer of non-exclusive rights, authorization, or permission to another person, permitting them to reproduce, publish, or perform another person's work for a specific period of time, rather. So musicians and music producers often license their music to record labels, distributors, and streaming platforms. Licensing and streaming platforms, yeah. Licensing agreements specify the terms and conditions for the use of the music, including royalties, territorial rights, and duration. So, okay, you need to obtain music license when you're using another person's music in a visual project, when you're using another person's music in film, TV commercials, and video games. If not, the person they'll probably sue you. It's like a case of infringing on someone's intellectual property. Okay, let's look at the case. This is not music now, but we look at the case of Sabinus when Picnic used this trademark. I think he said the image was trademarked. I didn't really follow the case, but when he said he was going to sue them for using his image, which was allegedly trademarked at the time, and the sum was like very huge. So this is why it's very essential to like obtain a license before you use a musician's an artist's or copyrighted work. And then for using an app, you need to obtain a license. That's very necessary when you need to obtain a license. So it's also important to secure a music license and permission to play or perform songs publicly. Collective management organizations, CMOs, like the Copyright Society of Nigeria and the Musical Copyright Society in Nigeria, they play a role in collecting and distributing royalties to artists. Please, next slide. Thank you. So these are organizations that are put in place in order to ensure that artists' works are protected, that the artists' works are protected. Types of license, I think we cannot see it here. I don't have much time. We have synchronization license. These are licenses granted for music to be synced with visual media. Just like I mentioned before, you have to obtain license to get this music, to get this work approved. If you don't have that license, then you're infringing on the person's copyright, and the artist has a legal right to pursue maybe an action, institute an action against you rather. We have mechanical license. This is granted where an artist's work is to be reproduced physically in the form of CDs or tangible forms. Okay, I think when it comes to CDs now, you can see there are so many instances where we just have an artist films are pirated or reproduced. So this is like an illegal hack, and it's an infringement of the artist's copyright, an infringement of copyright. What else? This license is given to record labels, distributors, and publishers. So we also have public performance license. It covers the broadcast of an artist's work in public places and also includes concerts. Theoretical license, I don't know if I pronounced that well. It will be required when musical work will be performed on stage in a theater. This license must be obtained expressly. Print license, it covers the physical copy of the sheet music created by the artist. So we can see here that at every point where we use someone's music, rather an artist's music, we need to obtain license, and the law protects the artist's rights. At every point in time, the law protects the artist's rights, and everybody should like understand this, because it guards your copyright and it guards your financial effort as well, and your intellectual right as well. So a licensing agreement generally is usually required to facilitate the transfer of rights over musical works. This is the next slide. I think that's all. Okay, so thank you very much. I believe you have any questions, I'm open to answer.
Thank you very much, Victory, for that presentation, that wonderful presentation. I'm sure, and thank you for the person who helped to share the slides. I'm sorry I couldn't, I think there was a mix-up somewhere. And we want to call on Group 1. Please, Group 1, if you're ready, you can come and make your presentation so that we can get over with Group 1 minutes.
I apologize for not presenting first. My network logged me off. I don't know if anybody can.
Good evening. Please, you can turn on your camera so that we can see us, and you can also share your slide.
Okay, no problem. Good evening. My name is Adeson Otoluwani, and I'll be presenting for Group 1 this week. Our topic for this week's presentation is music business. Sorry, I would like for you to permit me to share my screen. Take a moment. Just a moment, please. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right. So
Yes, please go ahead. Thank you.
So to start with, the Nigerian entertainment industry is a massive economic force that has contributed tremendously to the Nigerian economic system as a whole. So just a moment. Okay, sorry, to start with, the Nigerian entertainment industry is a massive economic force that has contributed tremendously to the Nigerian economic system as a whole, or to the growth of the Nigerian economy, specifically to the Nigerian music industry, which will be the basis of our discussion today. Before I delve into today's topic, I would first like to define or talk about the music business. According to popular research, music business is the business of acquiring, producing, packaging, or compiling audio, video programming, the content of which is primarily music or music related, and the marketing and sale of such programming by any method of distribution. It could also further be described as a finance aspect of music, which could be a layman's definition to music business. Okay, moving on, in talking about the music business, we must first acknowledge briefly the success that the Nigerian music industry has recorded over the years. The industry is set to generate over $2 billion in revenue per year, making it one of the largest music industries in the world. In speaking of the growth of the music industry in Nigeria, it has been estimated that the Nigerian music industry will grow by 12.24% from 2022 to the year of 2027, resulting in a market volume of $7.5 billion by 2027. Okay, when talking about the field of music publication, because of its very vast nature, it is important to talk about the laws that govern the rights and actions of various activities, unless as otherwise agreed, of course. For instance, the copyright of a musical work and any lyrics is usually first owned by the creator or author of the work, as provided by Section 15 of the Copyright Act. Okay. Before I move on, I'd like to define the term ownership. Okay. So ownership in this sense can be defined to be the act, state, or right of possessing something. Although there are certain exceptions to this rule, which will be briefly discussed. Number one exception is in a case where the work is made in the course of employment or under contract of service. The work is published, the employer or proprietor in this case will be the first owner. So what I mean by contract of services. Okay, so sorry to divert a little bit. In labor law, there's what we call contract for service and contract of service. Contract for services, you being a professional like the lawyers, doctors, and you're not being told how to conduct or carry out your business. While on the other hand, contract of service, you can be it can be like in a state of an amanuensis, a secretary can be told how to carry out a business, and any work you are set to accomplish during the course of your employment will be diverted, of course, to the employer to be the first owner of the copyright. So number 2 is where the author is a government worker and such work is created during the course of his employment. The government, in this case, will be the first owner of the copyright. Number 3, where the work is made or first published by or under the direction of the control of any public undertaking. Number 4, where a work is produced for valuable consideration at the instance of another person. Such person becomes the first owner of the copyright. Let's say, to explain this, let's say a newspaper is being, a magazine rather, is being published at the for the consideration, valuable consideration for another person. Let's say the person is paying a very large sum of money. Sorry, let's say the person is paying a very large sum of money. The copyright of the work suddenly, after the payment or the valuable consideration of the work, belongs to the person who duly provided the consideration. So moving on, copyrights in this instance has been divided or subdivided into 2 categories, which is, the first one is the composition. How the
excuse Toluwani. Sorry for cutting in on you rather. Please, can you adjust your screen? We can barely see your slides.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So sorry about this. So I would like for everyone to bear with me. The system I'm using is not cooperating with me at the moment.
Okay, carry on.
Hello?
Yeah, you can carry on.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so moving on, copyright in this instance has been subdivided into 2 categories, namely, 1, the composition, while 2, the sound recording. The composition in this case could be described as the work, could be described as the music and lyrics, otherwise known as the body of work in a musical work. Sound recording, on the other hand, is a particular recorded version of the music and lyrics, which are usually owned by artists or labels. Okay. According to section 6 sub 1 sub A of the NCA Act, subject to the exceptions specified in the 2nd schedule of the NCA, a copyright owner in a musical work has an exclusive right over acts stated in the above section. Acts such as reproduction of the work, publication of the work, performance of the work in public display of the work, lease, licensing, and assignment of the work. On the other hand, the copyright owner in a sound recording has the exclusive rights over acts stated in section 7 sub 1 of the NCA, which is similar to the one listed above, which is direct or indirect production of work, amongst others. I like to note that upon listing and licensing of any of these works of an original owner, such a person ceases to be the owner of such work until the time of lease licensing has elapsed. But in the case where the person has assigned his rights of the, let's say, musical work in this instance to another person, such a person cannot go later to go and claim the rights or the copyrights in such work since he has already assigned it, which means assigning a copyright or musical work to another person is permanent, and the rights cannot suddenly reverse back to the first owner. Moving on, it's pertinent to state that the copyright owners of sound recording do not enjoy as much as copyright owners of musical works do, because originality is not a requirement for the protection of recordings as is required for musical works. The originality in this case could mean that the work must have originated from you and not from any other person, that it's your own work and it's your own intellectual property and not that of any other person. In talking about all of this, it is also important we talk about the duration of it is also important to talk about the duration of copyright ownership in music. Copyright in musical works subsists throughout the lifetime of the author and continues for a period of 70 years after the end of the year which the author dies, in a case where they are joint owners in a musical work. The copyrights last for 70 years after the death of the last surviving author. In this case, in the case of a government or a body corporate musical works last for a period of 70 years after the end of the year in which the work was first published, while on the other hand, corporate and sound recording lasts for 50 years after the end of the year in which the recording was first published. Therefore, at the end of the period stated above, such works enter into the public domain or to the state of the art for public use. So after the time of 70 years has elapsed, once the work is already in state of the art or in public domain, anybody could make use of such work and not be held liable for infringement or any other cause. So this brings me to the next subtopic. Okay, music business financing. Financing in this case can be defined as the study and discipline of money, currency, and capital assets. Moving forward, finance in music can broadly be divided into three categories, namely public finance, which is the study of the role of the government in the economy; corporate finance, this concerns proper budgeting, raising capital to meet company needs, and so on. Then third, personal finance. This is financial management that concerns an individual or individuals, as the case may be, or an household. It is a budget that could be referred to as personal. In discussing music business financing, we must also point out or talk about financial literacy in the music industry, and it could be defined or described as the enlightenment of individuals, especially artists in the music industry, about the business aspect of music, such as the revenue, royalties, and the opportunities that stems or comes with that, to also enable them know what is at risk, such as insuring liabilities that could be avoided in the long run. Okay, next we have different avenues where finance can be sourced by artists. Number one, we have getting a record label deal. Number two, publishing and royalties. Number three, touring and live performances, which most artists do. Number four, independent financing. Number five, streaming and royalties payments. Number six, fan support and crowd funding. Number seven, money from grants and scholarships. Number eight, private investment. Number nine, debt finance. Number 10, music licensing and sync deals. Number 11, music sponsorship and endorsement deals. Number 12, merchandise sale. Sorry. Okay. Which again we have collective management, which is the last subtopic on that topic. Under the general topic, music business and law, it has been described or defined to be the exercise of corporate and to be the exercise of copyright and related rights by organizations acting in the interest and on behalf of the owners of such rights, in line with the curiosity of what collective management management organization truly is. They negotiate collectively on behalf of its members with copyright users to make sure that in situations where individuals where individual negotiations and licensing might be difficult or impossible, the owners of copyright get some financial benefit from the use of their copyright by third parties. That is, they get profit or the monies that have been made or may have been made by third parties when they use the work of artists. They are also responsible for licensing, tracking, and collecting publishing royalties and then paying them out to the respective songwriters or publishers. The CMO is also free from discrimination amongst anyone, which means almost anybody can become a member of the CMO to enable their rights become or get protected. Lastly, I'll be talking about some of the functions of the CMOs, which is the collective management organizations. The first one is that they monitor when, where, and what works of the artist, whose rights are protecting are being used to avoid or to work against infringements, as the case may be. Number two, they negotiate on behalf of an artist tariffs and other conditions with the users of their works. Tariffs in this case can set to be tax in regards to the creative work that has been put out there. So they license the use of protected works on behalf of its members and of other rights holders it represents. Number four, they collect the fees from users and distribute. Sorry, this brings me to the end of today's presentation, and thank you all for listening. I would like to thank my group members for pushing it to the frontiers of knowledge. Thank you. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you, Tolu, Wani. Thank the Group 1 and Group 2 presenters for making that presentation. Thank you for your efforts. I want to see both members from both groups show the appreciation to their presenters. I'm sure it's not a very easy task coming to the platform like this to present. I firstly want to apologize again for the network issues that we kind of had today. Sorry about that. I am going through the chats book, through the participants list, and it seems our mentor is not here anymore. I don't know. Try to reach out to her, but it seems she's unavailable to take commendations.
I just can't take video calls right now. I just turned off my video.
Oh, all right, Ma. All right, Ma. Okay, you can. Please, Ma, we would like to get your contributions from you, Ma.
Okay, I responded to what Tolu and both of them. I can't remember. Is it Precious? The first speaker, I can't remember her name. I beg your pardon. And then Tolu and you both did excellently well. I must say, I even learned some things from your slide. You refreshed my memories, and that was like a great job. So I would like to comment on the licensing aspect of the first speaker. I'd like to add, she mentioned something about if you're going to use an artist song in a commercial or in an audio visual, you have to get license from them. So that's what synchronizing licensing is. Like, for instance, in your movies, when you watch a movie and you listen to the soundtrack, or you listen to songs on that particular movie, they must have done what we call clearance. Clearance must have cleared, maybe lawyer to the musical, the lawyers to the production company must have cleared from the artist And that's where the licensing comes in. So when you're trying to clear with the artist, the artist gives you the license to sync their song into that synchronize their song into your movie. And for the public, I would just like to deviate a bit, but similar to what we're talking about. When you see most times production companies, as movie production companies, can't afford to pay artists for their own songs, existing songs, because the licensing, when you give them right to use your music, they have to get paid a lot of royalties, and some of these artists, some of these production companies can't afford that. That's why you see, if you pay attention to, especially in Nollywood, pay attention, you see that some artists are called to do original songs, as they sing particularly for that music. But where there's no original song, and you see one of your well-known songs being sung in a movie production or in a commercial, then you know that they must have licensed the rights to the commercial production company or the movie production company. So I just like to say that is what happens in practice, in reality. Okay. Aside that, every other thing sat well with me. And then Toluwani, he did excellently well. And I would like to, I think I just dropped that on the group. You mentioned something about reversal. So if I got you right, okay, I think you got it already. You mentioned something about when you assign your rights, you can't get it. Yeah, this is the general rule, but you know, as lawyers, we should always also know that there are exceptions to the general rules sometimes, right? Are you with me? I hope I'm not speaking to myself.
Yes,
Or do you want to put the video by all means? Okay, so there are instances where you can actually reverse it. I dropped that on the group and I just did a summary so that you don't, it's not always a one-way traffic. So if the assignment was based on a particular condition, it's just like your real property. It's like real estate now. You want to buy land from somebody and they want to assign their rights to you. And they say until you do, maybe you pay the entire estate dues, we can't assign this to you. So they assigned it to you based on a particular condition, right? Ordinarily, it can't reverse to them. But if you fail to fulfill that condition to reverse, that's the same way intellectual property can be treated. But of course, what you said is the general. I'm just trying to tell you, as a lawyer, you can also look out for times where this general rule may not apply. Okay, so that's it. If you have other questions, and then someone asked, am I still here?
Yes, ma'am, you are still here. We can hear you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Someone asked a question about resources, and I dropped that on the group. It's important that you are able to learn. It's important that you are able to learn. Sorry, someone asked something. Okay, how you can become resourceful in this business with your learning. Of course, it's important that you learn, take on courses, because in Nigerian universities, we don't have entertainment law. That was supposed to be like a barrier, but it wasn't. I had my master's in intellectual property law, and there are very, very few Nigerian schools that offer intellectual property law, but you can also do masters in entertainment law. So you can do your research properly. There are schools that will offer masters in entertainment law. But aside the masters, I will tell you this. Everything I know in entertainment law and practice today, I can't say I'll attribute it to the masters. So it's left for you. If you're passionate about this, you can be an autodidact. You read, study as much as possible, get materials, get close to seniors in the industry, people that you know that are doing well in this industry. If they are willing to guide you, of course, some might not have the time to guide you. Just try to network with people that are your seniors, and then Coursera, WIPO, take WIPO courses. There are loads and loads of WIPO courses. You know WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization, right? Yes. Okay. Take WIPO courses. take courses with Coursera. There's so many other online courses. Look out for them. And then you learn on your own. You read a lot. And over time, your practice, you might make some mistakes, but you'll be fine, especially if you have the basic knowledge of the law of contract, like I said, and intellectual property law. All right, that's about it. Right.
All right, thank you very much, Mark, for that contribution on both, on that analysis on both of their presentation. All right, it's time for questions. Yes, so if you have live questions, if you want to ask a question from everything you've learned today, you can just ask your question right here, and I'm sure Ms. Omotayo will do justice to them. So please, if you have a question or there's something on your mind, or a contribution you would like to add, please, you can send it right here. We'll be taking live questions before we'll be taking questions from the assignments, the ones you put dropped while submitting your presentation. So are there questions?
Yes, sir.
All right, you can go ahead. Yes, you can go ahead. You can also turn on your video.
Okay, all right. I also wanted to ask her about streaming, because I think someone last week said on every Spotify song there is, I don't know how much is attached to it. There is $1, I think, $10 attached to every stream a song gets, and some songs have that I know of have 1 billion streams, 3 billion streams. So does it mean the artist is getting 100% of the $10 on the streams, or part of the, like she said, each the producers, the company, and the record labels still have their cut in that percentage? That's the first question. Then, excuse me. The second question is, she said something about if you're in a studio recording and someone like makes a suggestion and like just to put a phrase, that person will be considered a songwriter. I need her to like just explain a little bit more on it, because if that's how it goes, I know that in studios, recording studios, even the original script, the lyrics they write might not be 100% what is put out, in the sense that there can be variations as it's recording. Maybe the person behind the glass who is pressing the recording button would suggest maybe for Burna Boy to raise his pitch or to exclude a word and put in a word. Does it mean all those people still have their own copyright in the lyrics and all that? Thank you.
Am I to talk now? Let me unmute myself. Hi,
yes,
Justin, right? Is it Justin that just spoke?
Justice, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hi, Justice. So your first question is about streaming royalties. I mentioned there are several stakeholders involved in this music business initially. So when you see, I even said that I think I answered this question in the beginning of my presentation, where I mentioned that you can see Wizkid made so streams in particular song. Doesn't mean Wizkid owns all of that amount of money, because there are so many other stakeholders involved and everyone is getting their own cuts from that streaming. So it all depends. We can't say, so if you see 1 billion streams, because I'm not Wizkid's lawyer, I'm using Wizkid as an example, of course, I can't say how much eventually is his take home. But of course, I can say for sure he can't take all of that home. He's got a manager. If he's signed to a record label, I think he's signed to Universal, or so I can't remember which one it is. I beg your pardon. You can take this girl away. So the artist doesn't take everything home. Even the distributing company, right? When you sign up on a distributing platform, this is how it works. They acknowledge that you both agree and acknowledge that certain amount of this money, when it comes to this distributing company, goes to them. So they say maybe distributors take like 5% sometimes. and then they distribute to you, the artist or the record label was. So imagine if you're distributing maybe 95% back to the record label. An artist signed to the record label will not even get that whole 95% also. So this is accumulated. Most times they do it monthly or quarterly. Streaming royalties, an artist doesn't take home all of the streaming royalties because it doesn't work. Even if you're an independent artist still has to work with so many other persons. Did I answer your question?
So, distribution companies like Spotify now, does it count as a distribution company? Do they take their cut?
The streaming platform, they get their own money from the adverts most times. So the distribution company is one that distributes to streaming platforms like Spotify, like Apple Music, like Boomplay. So those ones are not, excuse me. So those ones are not distribution companies. They are actually streaming platforms, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ma, for answering that question. I'm sure Justice was able to get some form of clarification.
Yes, you also mentioned, I think they asked another question about songwriting, right?
Yes, I asked about if an artist is recording in the studio, and you said it earlier in your lecture that if someone makes a suggestion that you should remove a phrase and maybe say yada yada yada, I don't see this, and include another phrase that person has.
Yada, yada, yada.
You're right. So I'm quite confused because I know that when an artist is in the studio, that the original lyrics they wrote down, it's not always what's content, that there can be some variations, and different people around him might work this. So does it mean each of them, even if it's just a word that someone says,
yes, let me tell you. Okay, I get your question, right? Let me give you an answer. I don't know if you did jurisprudence, law of jurisprudence. There's law as it is and law as it ought to be. So some things are obtainable in practice. Now, what I said is the law as it ought to be. And the fact that you are a lawyer, I'm speaking to you. If I was speaking to musical artists, I may not say that. But as a lawyer, I'm speaking to you so that you can protect the interest of your client. If your client is an artist and somebody is singing in the studio and tells him, I don't know if you all saw this video, this Ashake's video that Olamide added. Olamide's verse came, I can't remember this song, one of his songs that Olamide added a verse. Olamide is going to be getting publishing on that verse, regardless of the fact that Olamide is the owner of the record label and the record label is still getting about 70% on royalties. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you know your rights, you can enforce that. If you do not know your rights, of course, people can just vibe in the studio and add one or two things and they don't know that as they've added, they're actually entitled to publishing. They don't know. A lot of people don't know. That's why you're being enlightened as a lawyer. And if you have someone, a client that is dear to you, you can advise them accordingly if they are songwriters or not. So my answer to your question is yes. For every input anyone makes, if you want to follow it, some people are not, some people don't want to follow it strictly, but if you want to follow it strictly speaking, for every one word you add, you qualify as someone that has contributed to the composition of that song. I gave you an example with Buy You a Drunk. If you listen, T-Pain's Buy You a Drunk, right? After he sang a song, for each of some phrases that he used in that song, people started coming after him and asking for their royalties, publishing royalties, and he had to give them. Did you listen to that illustration when I made it?
Yes, ma'am, but I think my network too was. So I'm thinking from the point of a lawyer who is representing an artist, because I will also tell my client, anybody that suggests something in the studio, you should not take it.
You won't tell them like that, but it has to be tactical. You can listen to people's advice in the studio, but you have to be tactical about it. If you let him know, you can't just say don't take it. Let him know that for anyone that contributes to this song, they are very much likely to ask you for publishing royalties in the future. So you probably do that outside without, well, this is off record. You do that without any record of your contribution, or you sign a contract, a verbal contract, and oh, guy, thank you very much for this thing that you did for me. I'm going to give you something. Because you are entitled to pay someone money. You're entitled to pay them off. You can pay them some certain amount of money and probably even draft a contract that your contribution to my work is a contribution that's accepted on social basis and does not make you count as a composer. Or you can say you're getting the credit of composer, but you're not getting ownership of composition. Do you understand what I'm saying? Did you get that? Okay.
Yes.
So as you proceed in your career, everything is, like I said, in jurisprudence, law of jurisprudence, there's law as it is and law as it ought to be. So it's now left for you to be, it's business, be smart about it. You know what the law is, you know what the right thing to do, and then look out for what's best for your clients in each circumstance. Sometimes that collaboration they might actually need it. So you can't rule out collaboration entirely. If that verse, the verse Olamide added to Ashake's song might be what had made that particular song a hit at that time. Do you understand? So you might not have to rule it out entirely, but you should know so that in future when they come after the persons and they say they need money for publishing, you don't come confused, because every lyricist is entitled to publishing royalties. Okay?
All right, thank you very much, Ma. I think Justice is satisfied with that answer. So I don't know, are there any more questions? I saw someone raise their hand, but it seems the person, if you still have questions, we are still taking questions. Okay, Toruchukwu, sorry if I didn't pronounce that name well, sorry. Please, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Good evening. Matt, please, during your talk, you said that that producers, as even after being paid for the production of a song, they still have rights to the royalties after the song has been published, because you see the artists are still getting money, the song is still generating money. So my question is, okay, how do you calculate the royalties in your music work for each person that has this thing, each person that's supposed to be given one in a music work? That's my first question. Then the second one is, when it comes to branding, I was not like, who gets the ownership of the brand? Like, who gets the, you were like Kiss Daniel and what they call it, and Kiss Daniel. So I'm like, if an artist name like this, who is the original owner of the artist name? Is it the label or is it the artist? That's my question.
Hi. So for the I think I already missed your first question, but for the second question, you said, who is the owner of the brand identity? And what I tell people is that the first thing you do, if you give yourself the name in the beginning, you say you're like myself, I'm my digital lawyer. Let's assume I'm an artist and I give myself the name my digital lawyer, right? When I'm being signed to a record label, sometimes they would like to take over that identity, and they do that by registering your trademark. So whoever has a registered trademark in their name is the owner of the name. And there's no one-way traffic, or there's no one rule to it. It depends on, maybe if in the beginning you're an independent artist, you already gave yourself the name, fine, it's for you if you're able to protect it before getting signed into a recording deal. But if you're not able to protect it and you actually gave yourself the name and you got into that deal, sometimes you assign the right to your name, to your brand identity without even knowing. Other times, when an artist is signed to a record label, they do what they call a brand makeover. like they package you, you understand? They give you maybe Wizzy, Wizkid, or like Kiss Daniel. They give you that name. And then you become famous. And then when you're ready to leave, you think you are living with the name. Then you realize that the name has been trademarked. So it depends. There's no one that's been said to own the name. So if you are smart enough, or if you have a lawyer to guide you accordingly, the best thing to do is get that name or brand identity protected at all costs on your own before you sign up to any deal, and be sure you're not assigning all of your rights to anyone. Okay? Did I answer your question? Hello? I wasn't speaking to
Yes,
myself.
ma'am, you answered my question. So, like the number one, I was like, how do you calculate royalties in the music business? Then how do you know which to allocate to which party? Like the amount of royalties
you follow
to allocate
industry
to-
practice. You
Okay.
follow industry practice. So there's no rule that states every maybe manager must take 10%. But that's what most managers take. So there's no handbook somewhere that says every manager to an artist must take 10%. But that's the industry practice. A lot of managers take 10%. Some others take 5%. Then royalties between record label and artist. Sometimes it's 60-40, sometimes it's 70-30. 70, most times the chunk of it goes to the record label, of course. You won't see an artist that will get 70 and then the record label takes 30. Because most of the investment comes from the record label. So there's no handbook that states this is the amount or this is the percentage that should go to any person. Even for distribution companies, most of them do the same thing, either 5% or 2% or 3%, 10%. Sometimes some of them take 10% for their own distribution. So that's why a contract is always necessary. And a contract is not something, it's not like a commandment. It's an agreement between you and someone. So you come together and say, I want you to take 5%. You agree or you don't agree. You agree. You put it down in writing. It's signed. Okay? So just follow industry practice. What's applicable in your nation, in your jurisdiction, or in the industry you find yourself in.
Okay, thank you very much, ma.
All right.
Okay, thank you for asking the question, and thank you, man, for giving a response to that question. I want to. Are there more questions? So that we can? After that, we'll just go to the questions on the chat box, and then we'll call it a night.
But was I able to answer your question? The previous person, if I got you, I want to know how to know what percentage is supposed to go to anyone, right? I just want, because this is a very, very crucial discussion, and I hope you got it properly. So once you do your agreements, the agreement states this is what this person is getting. Sometimes a split sheet or a collaboration agreement. Okay, I don't know if the person is still online, but that's it. Okay.
Okay, I think she's still there, but
Yes,
I'm sure
thank you very, very much.
Okay.
All right. Let's go to the questions on the chat box. The questions here are okay. At what stages involved? What are the stages, involved in music production? Alma, please, can you give a response to that question? What are the stages involved in music production?
Stages. Okay. You start by planning. You have the passion at first as an artist. You start by planning. So that's like the pre-production. Production is the main mixing of the masters. You understand? So you start with the pre-production aspect, where you decide who you'll be working with. If you're an upcoming artist and you want to work with maybe a big label or a well-known artist, that's the first part. You write your song. I think you can't sing a song without it being written. So I believe that's without it being written down. But some people are just good with just singing melodious songs. But the first thing is you have the lyrics down. I beg your pardon. And then you do your recording. So after you've written, you do the record, you go to studio. So oftentimes studio sessions is where people think that's the main work to be done. You do your recording in the studio based on what is being written down. Then what's next? So okay, then when you record in the studio, right? That's where you have your musical producer, the beats. The producer is one that does the beats. You can't just sing. The example I use, I always say yada yada yada. You can't just sing yada 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 without something melodious to it. So that's melody, the beats that makes it interesting, is done by the producer. That's also done. Then you mix and master. I hope I'm not muted though. Okay.
No, ma, you're not.
Okay. All right, great. Then you mix it. So that's where you get the master. The master is, when you're recording, I don't know if you see people on TV, the record is just like playing with your voice without the beats. And then when the beat is synced with your recording, you fine tune. Some people use auto tune. You fine tune to make it, appealing to the ears of your audience. So that's the mixing stage. And outside of that, what's next? I think that's production. Production is next. And then in marketing is like post-production, just like in the movie industry. Music and movie similar. Once you produce the song, post-production. So that's the stage. Those are the stages: pre-production and post. Plan, write, record the song, mix with your beats, and then release and market. That's the practical step. Okay.
All right, Martin. Thank you, ma, for that answer.
Sorry, excuse me.
All right, ma, can you hear us, ma?
Yes, please. Yes.
All right. I'll be going to the next question. The next question says, how do artists receive royalties from streaming platforms, and what are the processes involved?
Oh, I think I answered. I think someone asked the question, right?
Yeah, something similar related to this. Okay, let me just go to.
No, I can just say it again. You said, how do they receive?
How do artists receive royalties from streaming platforms, and what are the processes?
Okay, I mentioned earlier. I used the example of DistroKid. DistroKid is a distribution company. So DistroKid will help you. I'm saying DistroKid, there are several others, but I just like to use DistroKid because that's the one I've worked with for my artists. They help you to distribute your songs. So your work is to upload. You sign up on the distribution platform, just like the way you sign up to Instagram and sign up to TikTok. But it's not good to DIY if you're not familiar with this thing. So it's good to give an agent or someone that is familiar with this to do for you, right? For you, when I'm saying for you, for the artist. So you, the lawyer, can be the agent if you're good with this. You sign up on the platform, and then when you sign up, you select the streaming platform. So the distributor is the one that now helps you send all of what you have uploaded. Are you following? So you upload to your distributor. Distributor sends all of what you have uploaded to the various streaming platforms you choose. That's why you see sometimes you see some songs that are available on Apple Music and they are not available on Spotify, or they are available on Spotify, they are not on Apple Music. Some people do not decide to use all of these streaming platforms. So when these streaming platforms play your music, right? If you're using AudioMac, I don't know, I use AudioMac and I use the free version. The free version has loads and loads of adverts. I believe that's where AudioMac gets their money from, and from subscription, premium members. So when your song is being played on maybe AudioMac or Boomplay, and it gets a number of streams, there's a particular amount they are supposed to pay you for that amount of stream. So when they get that particular amount, they collect it. Sometimes it's done monthly. A few of the artists I know, they collect just monthly, sometimes quarter. No one collects weekly because it gets really small. So once the streaming platform is able to get the amount they want to pay you, the artist, they don't pay to you, the artist, they pay to the distribution company. The distribution company at this point now removes its own percentage and gives to you. So if you have your song uploaded by the distribution company in different streaming platforms, they collect from all of the streaming platforms, deduct their own amounts and give to you. So your own job is to, first of all, sign up with a distribution company, and then you leave the distribution company to do the rest for you. Sign up and upload your music, of course. I hope I answered that question.
Yes, ma'am. Sure. Yes, ma'am, you did. Okay.
Yes. Someone just asked if you can upload. Yes, you can. But I mentioned that it's better you do so with the help of the right agent, because you might end up missing out on some things. But you can. Maybe if you're an independent artist and you're not sure you want to share your little money with someone, you can decide to do it yourself if you want. I answered the question from the chat box.
Yes, ma'am. I just saw it. Thank you very much, ma'am, for that.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. The third question is, I was presented with a management contract. What things should I look out for?
Management. To me, the first thing that comes to my mind is money. How much am I giving you as a manager? How much are you giving me as your manager? I don't know who is the manager here. Is it the person that asks the question? Okay, first thing you look at is the finance. What percentage? Because it's usually in percentage. How much commission am I giving to you as a manager? And the term of the contract, very, very important. You see why I said your knowledge of contract law is important here. Regardless of the fact that it's entertainment business, it's music business, you still have to think of the first things in a contract, the term. How long am I in this for? Especially if it's going to be a bondage. How long am I ready to be in this bondage for? Even if it's not bondage, do you understand? So the term, the commission, how much you're giving, and then what is this manager doing for you? Some managers, they are just manager for manager's sake. You are the one that is paying them, but they're not really doing their job. So you have to state their obligations. You have to look out for what exactly is this manager going to be doing for you. Is this manager also responsible for taking care of all of your deals within the country, or it even goes outside of the country? So I think that's just it for the manager. What are you going to be doing for me? How much are you willing to accept? How much are you going to be paid for this? And how long is it for?
Okay. Thank you, Ma. I think someone added a question to that question on the chat box. In your opinion, Ma, what is a fair sunset clause in a management contract?
A consent clause?
A fair sunset clause. I think that's the word.
Like in reality. What?
Please, can the person who asked this question, can you further explain what you mean by fair sunset clause?
Yeah, I can. So in a recent management contract that I was privy to read, there was a clause there about the management company still earning on deals that were concluded within the term of the agreement.
That's even after the agreement has been terminated.
Yes, has been terminated. Yeah, so I mean, it sparked my imagination. I was trying to understand why so, and for how long would be a reasonable time for something like that.
I've not had to do that, but I believe the reason, contracts will always be contract, but the reason behind that is to, sometimes you're doing a production, you start off work with someone and maybe you stop the work halfway, or something happened and you're not able to finish up with the work and your term expires. I believe it would be unfair to get profit or proceeds from that particular deal and not share with the manager that worked so hard with you. This happens even for employer-employee relationships sometimes. Hello? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
This happens even in employer-employee relationships. Sometimes you get to work on a particular deal that has not matured, that's not ripe yet, and then your real term of contract expires. Say it expires this year, and then the deal you worked on yields results, or you brings proceeds in the following year. So I believe what this fair sunset clause does is to ensure that parties are still adequately remunerated or considered, even beyond the term of the contract, especially for the kind of or nature of work done at the time the contract was still valid. Yes. But in
All right,
practice,
thanks
I've
a lot,
never
man.
had to put a fair sunset clause in management deal.
Okay, thank you very much, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Ma, for that answer. Okay, I'll just be asking the fourth question here. The first question is, what are the measures put in place for artists' money where the artist died before their music was published? E.g., example, Mohbad.
It's Mohbad matter. Okay, can you say the question again? Because I'm very, very sensitive to this Mohbad issue. Can you come again, please?
All right,
You
so
said
I'm
what
coming
are
again. What are the measures put in place for artists' money where the artist died before their music was published?
Okay, so that means the music already exists, but it's not published. You can't allow the music waste, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you can't allow it to get wasted. You just switch. If the person had a will, which I know most of these people do not. I don't know why, but they don't have will, because you treat your intellectual property like a real property. If you had a will, it would be stated there that all of their creative works, of course, whether published or not published, be managed by their estates, be managed by their administrators, of course, right? Or the beneficiary of his works. So because of managing that, you can decide. Even if you check on Instagram, Michael Jackson still has an Instagram account. Michael Jackson, they still released some of his song posthumously. So you can do that if you have someone that is ready to take on that hassle. Maybe your family, maybe their family member or their estate manager. When I say estate manager, you remember how your landlord is. I mean, the person in charge of their property after their demise. You can still decide to publish it. Go ahead and publish it on the person's behalf, regardless of the fact that person is late. So long as you have the right to do that for every other property of that person, the intellectual property is not excluded. You can publish and then manage the publishing, manage the royalties that come afterwards. Someone mentioned in one of your presentations, you already know that copyright exists even after the subsists after the demise of the owner, right? 70 years.
Yes, ma'am. I think Group 2 actually in their presentation, Toluwani,
yeah, they mentioned that. So
made mention of that.
But I'm here to teach you what happens in practice. So this is how it's supposed to be. But oftentimes, especially for developing countries like ours, people do not take this really seriously. That's why I mentioned Michael Jackson. The developed countries, they understand these things. They are way ahead of us. So artists, they make arrangements for some of these things even long before their demise. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. We do. Thank you very much, Ma. And I think the last and final question for today is, as a young undergraduate, young lawyer, how can one go into media and entertainment law, and what are the things that will help you boost the CV of someone who wants to go into this area of law?
You're doing that already. What you're doing now, keep at it. Mentor session, mentor one-on-one sessions. I have mentors. Even I'm not the oldest in the industry. I have mentors that I look up to and I ask questions. And you take courses. If you're able to take courses, I mentioned that earlier, keep reading, take courses and network. When they're doing in this music business, I said in the beginning of my slide that you treat it as business, so separate from law. So if you can attend maybe parties, events, concerts, workshops, that would be very, very helpful.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you for such a wonderful section.
Take WIPO courses. WIPO is like your best deal. Take WIPO courses. I'm big on WIPO courses. Take WIPO courses.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sure all our mentees have or will take that into consideration going forward, especially for those that are still in school and still learning. So I want to thank you again, Ma, for taking our time to really do justice to these subjects of law, music business, and law. I think you
Okay.
made mention on the fact that we should concentrate on it as a business. We should focus on the business aspect of it. So thank you so much, Ma, for making our time these 2 hours of your time to be here and help us glide through this topic. We appreciate all you do, and we want to say again a very big thank you. Thank you very much, Ma, again.
Thanks for having me. Thank you. I wish you the very
Yes, ma'am.
best in your career.
Thank
See
you
you
very
on
much, ma'am.
top, all of you on top. Hope to see your name soon.
All right, I would like to see some of the reactions from our mentees. I would like to see you say thank you to our mentor, Miss Omotayo, for this wonderful section. Um, Before we go, we just want to have a 2 minute picture for our social media so that our mentees can post and share what they learned in today's class. So
Am I supposed to be part of the picture?
if it will be nice to have
Okay.
you also here. All right, so if you can please turn on your cameras, so
Okay.
that we can. All right, if you can please turn on your videos so that we can take this picture, the screenshots. Okay. Can we have more people turn on their camera? More mentees. Thank you. All right, thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very much, everyone, for complying. Sorry. All right, we've come to the end of today's section. I'm sure everyone here who was able to make it to this class learned 18 or 2. With that, we have come to the end of today's section. Our next class will be next week, same time. Make sure you post what you've learned. Make sure you share. Make sure you tag JIIPCC. Thank you once again. And you can tag our mentor. Ma, I'm sure you are also on LinkedIn, right?
Yes. Wait.
Yes, okay. Yes, ma'am. You can tag our mentor and let everyone know that yes, JIIPCC is doing a great work and our mentors are also doing a great work. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, we've come to the end of today's class. Please all have a wonderful night rest and see you next week, Thursday.
Well done. You did an excellent job facilitating. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Good night.